The veto phase is an incredibly important part of competitive Counter-Strike. Teams like Navi have lived and died off of having banned their permabans like Cash and Nuke, depending on what time we're talking about. And I think that we have had made some great strides in terms of public sentiment and content surrounding the veto process with Thorin's specialization in the veto process on the analyst desk and map picks and kind of breaking down who's going to win based on how they play on the maps that have been chosen or the maps that have not been chosen. And that really generates some interesting conversation on the analyst desk itself, on the broadcast itself. But outside of that, um, Wallaby Beetle has a relatively new series where he breaks down the teams, the best teams in the world, map by map. And, with something like that, you're going to go a little bit more in depth off to the side, I guess, from the outside of the broadcast. And it's still going to be additional interesting information for everyone who has an interest in it, I guess. And, despite these improvements, I think that we could go further than that. There's no reason to stop here, that we could make the map veto process a process that more people value, a process that more people have fun with. And the way to do that, I think, is to have a live map veto process. That would be done with have the two in-game leaders get mic'd up, or whoever does the map veto process for the team, have them get mic'd up, have them get put on camera, and a host of the tournament facilitate the map veto process. So let's say it's between SK and G2, so Shocks or NBK, whoever does the map veto for that team, goes and meets up with Fallen on SK. And then let's say Golden Boy for this tournament, the host, then, or it could be Stunna. Um, he kind of says like who like the just basically facilitates it and make sure that the process gets rolling. And that this is a high pressure situation right here. You're going to be playing for your tournament lives. Right now, the finals are going on for the ESL Pro League, and you know your honor, your prize money, all that stuff is dependent on what you're going to do in the next few minutes. And I think that very high pressure times, so people are going to have some stress. People are going to not really be friends anymore. Well, of course, everyone's still friends, but I think there's going to be some interesting opportunity for banter considering the high pressure situation that everyone is in. So if G2 picks a bad map, then Fallen could jab back with saying, "Oh, you really think that you're going to win on this map? You're like, based on the map veto, we're going to win. We have this so and so record on that map." And then Shocks can say something back, and it creates not only an interesting experience for the people who are most interested in the map veto and already, but I think for casual fans, seeing this banter between the two in-game leaders would be quite interesting. Add a greater component to the veto process, and I guess where it currently stands, I guess fans are saying that this is a boring part of the broadcast and they just want to skip to the game. Logistically, that's not possible, and there's time to fill. Better to see these analysts talk about the game rather than techno music and ads playing. So this would, it wouldn't cost any extra money. It would not really interfere with the teams. Well, it wouldn't interfere with the teams, as there's already a map veto process where they take time and go through the maps. It doesn't necessarily have to be live, but having it live, having it on stage would be quite interesting. I guess add a I guess there's a greater component of it being live, it being in front of all these people, but it could be recorded. It could, just the it doesn't really matter what's going on with it, but I think that having this process, like showing the interaction between the two in-game leaders would be very interesting for everyone involved, and I think would also eliminate some of the error in the broadcast, or mitigate it rather. So production at this event has often misattributed map picks to certain teams, and to avoid, well, not avoid that, but to minimize the misattribution of map picks and bans, the production, having heard what is who picked or who banned what just a few seconds earlier, and then production messing it up, we're going to know, okay, they just made a mistake. We heard it before. We're not going to know that whether the team who picked this map is retarded in the map veto process, and they just made a they're just retarded and picked the wrong map, or whether that they are the other team picked the map basically. I think that that would be a fairly interesting way of handling it, and that this wouldn't just substitute what the analyst desk already does. I think that they could have a time where they predict the maps before the teams go out on stage. They could have some time to warm up the crowd, I guess, in terms of prediction and their analysis. And then there is the map veto process, like sandwiched in there. And then after that, they have a time where they break down what actually happened, a time where they go through further predictions, break down the teams, especially with the map veto process already having happened. And I think that would really add a interesting component to the broadcast, and I think that this would really improve it for casuals and hardcore fans, and just improve the sentiment regarding map vetoes in general, because a lot of people seem to underappreciate what the value of map picks really has in competitive Counter-Strike.